Hi, my name is Kathleen Masterson, and I had the first element, which is purpose, goals, and objectives. And that involves having a clear goal in mind. Critical thinking involves using all of your sources to get the best answer or the best solution. And it's impossible to do that without a true purpose. So you have to have a solid goal to focus on while you are critically thinking.
Do I go on to number 2? Okay. So my name is Carolina Cuellar, and mine was number 2, question at issue, problem, issue, and misconception, and some ways to avoid misconception when critical thinking is asking, am I asking an open or closed-ended question? And it can, like, if they don't have knowledge, if they don't have prior knowledge, it can lead to misconceptions, and it can just be a barrier between the new learning. Sorry, I got nervous, but and I guess just addressing the problem. Oh God, I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense.
I mean, it made sense to me.
Okay. So yeah, so just addressing the problem and then eliminating that problem to make it, I guess, like, make it make sense.
Mhm. I'm Ashley Salazar. I have number 3, the third element of thought, which is information. And so information is pretty much anything that we observe, or like facts and data and reasonings and experiences. And it's also, information can also be verified for the most part. And in terms of critical thinking, the information that we gather from all of these sources, like the facts, data, evidence, it's used so that we can figure out things, or to even answer the question of it beforehand. So yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, hi, my name is Angelica Salinas, and I had my element 4, interpretation and inference, with solution and conclusion. So interpretation is like the act of resulting or interpreting what's going on from a specific point of view. For example, I can say a gen ed teacher and a special ed teacher might have the same facts in a student's report, but also with different points of view when presenting. So in order for us, we ask ourselves, what do we do in order for us to interpret the act, right? So what act can I interpret? By making a decision, by finding various conclusions that are possible to decide for the best support, either for students, teachers, parents. Interpretation may lead to recognizing a problem and describing it. Maybe saying, what's the main idea from what's going on? How can I organize it or have a structure? Can I be clarified with the meaning, what it is? I also had what's inference. Inference is a conclusion we come to analyze the information. It's like finding the best solution to a problem, which is assessing whether the knowledge you have is reliable. So pretty much like having facts that will help us reason, to have a reasonable. For example, we can say when you leave the gate open and your dog escapes, you're guilty by implication, right? Implication means when you are involved in something that leads in a prediction of what will happen next in given a situation. So meaning what happens when you left the gate open? It led to the consequence of the dog escaping, okay? So the judgment will allow me to know, have I been successful by leaving the door open? No, I wasn't successful. Why? Because my dog escaped, okay? I also had element number 5, which was concept, definitions, models, laws, theories, and principles. Concepts are labels of ideas that are shareable for things to make sense. Concepts like theories, laws, principles can allow us allow the brain to have like chunk information. Can I chunk this information to make it in a large section? Definitions can also lead to how people interpret the theory, the categories, the different objects and information with the input. Okay. This allows us to communicate ideas, experiences that can take effect among others. Okay. It is important for us to have a good understanding of the concept by gathering information, allowing to create others or order. An example of that could be a concept classifying, let's say, for example, a company. Company is trying to reach out a goal target, right? By discovering ways to find models to improve the performance in order to have a better progress, okay? So we can also be asking our questions like, what concepts will I use to correct the problem? What information do I need to apply to correct the problem? This can lead to a target concept, which that was theory number 5.
I also had element number 6, which is assumptions, axioms, presuppositions, and prior facts or knowledge. And I interpreted this as clearing your mind when you're going to critically think. And what I mean by that is like any assumptions that you had beforehand, or anything that may have been judgmental or maybe not completely factual, like clearing that out so that you can stay focused. And just making sure that any prior facts you are using are completely factual and not just something that you personally believed, because you only want to use factual data when you critically think. So basically, just don't come in with a pre-made idea when you're looking for a solution. Be open to new information and don't hold on to those old assumptions of what you think that you knew.
Alrighty. I had number 6 and number 7 and number 8. I had implications and consequences. I also do want to say, please bear with me. My camera is not working at the moment. But moving on to the implications and consequences. So an implication is kind of like when you like have a thought and then that thought kind of forms like another thought. Like that's an implication, right? Like it's kind of implied, it's kind of, an implication. Angelica kind of talked about implications earlier a little bit. So thank you, Angelica. That was very nice.
You're welcome.
And some of these implications, like sometimes consequences can come along with them. So like Angelica gave us the example of having the door open and then your dog escaping. And a dog escaping from an open door is the consequence of leaving the door open. Sorry, bear with me. And then, so that's kind of implications and consequences. Like there are implied things that you should know. Sometimes when someone says something to you, it is implied that there's other things that maybe you should know in certain subjects and certain things like that. And then moving on to the final element, point of view. Everybody comes into the world with a point of view. Everyone tackles their problems, their everyday life, everything they do has their point of view attached to it. And everyone's point of view is kind of different because everyone's lived a different life. So not everyone can have the same point of view. So Angelica's point of view is probably different than my point of view because she is a female and I am a male. So there are two different opposing point of views there. She, has had a different life than I have. So that is kind of an example of a point of view. And another example might be being someone who is older and someone who is younger. That is a different kind of point of view because someone who's older has different experiences than someone who is younger. And I just, those are some pretty good examples, I thought, of point of view. But point of view is pretty much just how you attack every aspect of your life, however you approach it, however you go forward, everything in your life, your point of view is a part of it. So those are my two little things.
And this was our 8th element
Yes,
assignment.
yes, it worked.